Moving on to some rather big news, though I don't think it's going to get nearly the coverage it should or get nearly talked about as much as it should until probably it starts really being in effect. But the California State Athletic Commission has now decided, with a unanimous vote, that they're going to now cancel all fights, MMA and boxing, if fighters are over the 15% contracted weight. So what that means basically is that when they, if you are, let's say your walk around weight, if you weigh on average 15% more than your walk around weight, then they're not going to cancel. They're going to cancel your fights. They're going to not allow you to fight at that weight class going forward. I think this is a good measure, though it definitely is going to affect MMA far more than boxing. The exact numbers here from their studies. Let me see. 9 out of 574 boxing matches between January and October 2019 would have been canceled under this rule. So that's a very limited number. But it's a stretch. And I mean, I should say it's a start. And it's definitely on the path towards curbing extreme weight cutting, because that, I think, is one of the biggest issues in the sport. Guys, any thoughts on the new California State Athletic Commission's rule about the 15% contracted weight and now saying that they will cancel fights if you exceed that?
I personally love it, right? It's not, which most commissions do, is if you miss weight, then you have to pay us. So we want to enrich ourselves off of mismatches. They're actually canceling the fight. So it's actually about fighter safety. It's not like what the NFL does and say, oh, we care about player safety, so we're going to take away one preseason game where the players rest and add a regular season game where they'll get hurt, right? This is actually about the safety of the fighter. So I love it. Weight cuts are getting serious. We're seeing major injuries from fighters cutting way too much weight.
Fighters die. In Brazil,
die.
It's been a huge issue in Brazil. I know for boxing fans, they may not know about this, but look up like MMA fighter dies weight cutting. Like just type that into Google. You're not going to see any images or videos, but you're going to find news stories, and it's a lot. Again, Brazil has had a lot of issues. And for boxing heads, this has happened rather recently. Antonio Orozco was supposed to fight, I want to say it was Ramirez back in the day, when they were first scheduled to fight, and Orozco passed out during the weight cut. And
it was Danny O'Connor passed out during the weight cut.
No. Orozco is somebody that has passed out during a weight cut. Trust me.
Danny O'Connor had a... Okay.
Trust me. Trust me. Orozco and Ramirez, I think, were scheduled to fight because they ended up fighting, obviously, at some point. But they were scheduled to fight, I want to say, like a year prior or a year and a half prior. And Orozco failed to make weight. He passed out during weight cutting, and they had to call in a late notice replacement. So this is not new, and this does happen in boxing, but it is far more infrequent in boxing because of the frequency of weight classes. You know, there's only 5 or 7 pounds in between weight classes in boxing, and in MMA, it's 10, 15 pounds in between weight classes. It's a big difference.
And in boxing, you need your legs more, so dehydrating yourself is going to damage yourself more. Where in UFC, and I could be wrong, you need that upper body strength. You want that physical strength advantage. So there's a much bigger advantage to cutting weight. No, you don't think so?
I don't agree with your assessment that boxers use their legs more. And a great example is just...
I have no idea. I just thought they did.
I'll put it this way. Look at MMA fighters and their leg like muscle formations, and then compare it to boxers. Like MMA fighters have like running back thighs. They have to for takedowns, for grappling, for kicks. You need bigger legs in a sense. Boxers, you get far more scrawnier legs. Deontay Wilder, Maurice Hooker, Lawrence Okolie, you know, like
Tim Bradley,
Terrence Crawford, even in a way, right? Like, even think of a guy like that's like muscular, like an Earl Spence. He has kind of scrawny legs. If you look at the comparison to MMA fighters,
yeah, but Tim Bradley, I've seen better legs on a chair. I mean, that guy's legs are like toothpicks.
Whoa, pause. But digressing.
That probably sounded weird. Yeah, that
did. That definitely sounded weird. You should not be saying that to other people that you. Looking at Tim Bradley's legs so so much. Digressing. Good rule by California State Athletic Commission. Rob, I forget if you say anything. I totally forgot after Gary mentioned Tim Bradley's legs.
No, anything that's going to, bring the fighters' safety. The safety has risen. But I was sorry while you were discussing that, reading Lou DiBella's statement, and it's he's kind of alluding to the fact that maybe whether now is exactly the right time with emotions, but maybe we need to start looking at ways of making the sport safer. I said we don't have any of the answers right now, but there's now all of a sudden a lot of questions, and it could be something that was in the memory of Patrick Day that something was changed or some kind of difference was made as regarding fighter safety and things like that. So yeah, anything that's got the fighter's health in mind, these weight cuts. Sometimes we've seen videos recently of fighters being held on scales. They're about to apparently go and have a fight. You wouldn't think they could tackle a flight of stairs, let alone a fight against another human being. But anything that's because isn't it like detrimental to taking shots as well? If you're severely weight cut,
because the water on your brain, the water you sweat off, it's extra. But the one thing I wanted to add to this is Texas is licking its chops right now. All those Mexican fighters who have a home in California who may not be able to make this rule, they're just going to fight in Texas now. Yeah, because it's not like UK. There's not one commission. There's 50 commissions. So, like Munguia, he's done fighting in California. Texas will sanction him though.
Or he'll just move up and wait.
So but he's not, because he's not good. He needs to have a size advantage.
But he's already talked about moving up in weight. So that example, he'll just move up in weight. Period. I think. But you are right that some guys will go.
Adding more than 10%, 15% of his weight at one. That guy's huge. You're going to get guys where they're just going to fight, and that's not California's fault. California can only do what California can do. But you're going to just see guys go to Texas.
Agreed. Moving on.